What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Team Fish Knuckles YouTube channel. Now, before we get to Erik's interview, this is the deck list that he used to get top 8 out of South Carolina States. And as you see, it is a Medicham deck. And we haven't really been over Medicham that much. I know I did like a Rogue Tuesday video with it, but Medicham has the Alpha Barrage thingy, which makes it where you can attack twice. And basically, you're not going to use Calm Mind. I mean, you could use Calm Mind if you want to, and you could use Yoga Kick. But the thing here is, you want to use Smack, which does 20 damage. And you might be like, all right, Squeaky, 20 damage. That's not a lot. But let's start doing the math. We do 20 damage. Then we attach a Silver Bangle to attack an EX. You do 30 more damage, which is 50. So 50 times 2 is 100. All right, so now we're doing 100. Alright, so it needs 1 energy, so we attach a strong energy to it. You're doing 70. Alright, so 70 times 2 is 140. Alright. And then if you have a fighting stadium in play, you do 20 more damage, which is 90. 90 times 2 is 180, which knocks out the majority of EXs. So this is a pretty cool deck that not a lot of people have seen that much. And some cool things about this deck is he does play 2 teammates, which seems pretty clutch. Ask what cards he usually gets with teammates, because that's a good kind of question, I think. And I ask about the Iris, and I know a lot of people have not even seen Iris or have never played it before, but Iris says during this turn your Pokemon's attack do 10 more damage to the active Pokemon for each prize card your opponent has taken. So obviously that helps with Medicham to kind of boost its attack. And also, I asked a really important question. I said, something you would tell a new player, like a new person playing this deck? And he gives a really good answer. And basically he goes over what you would do if you go first or second, because going first or second changes totally how you play this deck. But hopefully you enjoyed this interview. Thanks for watching. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Team Fish Knuckles YouTube channel. Today we're doing another states question answer video with Erik. And Erik, where are you from?
I'm from Greensboro, North Carolina.
Okay, and what states are we talking about?
We were at the South Carolina States.
Okay, so how'd you end up doing a Swiss?
I went undefeated in the Swiss. I went 6 rounds without losing, so I won 6 rounds, and then in the last round I got to ID, so undefeated.
All right. So what were the decks that you played against?
Decks that I played against in the Swiss 2 Landorus Bats, 2 Virizion Genesect, 1 Manectric EX Mewtwo EX deck, and then 2 Eviltal decks with random stuff in them, Manectrics and Seismitoads, that kind of stuff.
Okay. So making it the top 8, are you nervous? Are you excited?
For the top 8, I was really excited. I was a little bit nervous whenever I found out what deck I was playing against, so that kind of set me off a little bit. There were, I think 3 Virizion Genesect decks that made it to the top 8, so I was counting on hitting up against one of those, and that didn't happen. So.
All right. So what was the deck that you played against?
I played against Landorus Bats, and the odd thing about that is I played against 2 of them in the Swiss, and I beat those decks. But once you get to the top 8, you're facing really, really good players. And the guy that I played against, he lost the first game. It didn't seem like he knew quite how to handle the matchup, but by the second game and third game, he knew exactly what to do. So, kind of put a nail in my coffin.
Okay. Well, still, I mean, top 8 is very good. So congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
All right. So if somebody were to pick up the Medicham deck and they've never played it before, what would you give some tips for them?
Yeah, so probably the biggest piece of advice that I could give is what you really want to do depends on, obviously the deck that you're playing against, but it also depends on whether you go first or second. It's an interesting deck in that I kind of have 2 different strategies depending on whether I go first or second. If I go first, I'm looking at trying to bench as many Metatypes as I can, and so often if I can pull off a Karina, I'll go ahead and do that. Use a Karina to get a Metatype, and then grab a Repeat Ball to just grab another Metatype. And if I'm going second, though, I'm looking more at trying to use a Karina to grab a Landorus EX and switch card if I need to. If I have like a Hawlucha active, then I can just retreat into the Landorus. But going second, you really want to put that Landorus EX up as kind of a wall while you're spreading some damage to make it a little bit easier to piece those cards together to gain one-hit KOs on the EXs. So, for instance, if say I'm going up against an Eviltal deck and I'm going second, I want to get a Landorus active, get 30 damage on a benched Evoltol EX. That way, whenever he comes up to attack, my Medichams can get him even with the resistance. So that's the biggest bit of advice that I can give.
Okay. Now, your deck played 2 Iris, and most decks don't play any. What were your reasoning behind that?
The Iris worked really well against Seismitoad. If you end up getting item locked early on and you're not able to drop down a lot of silver bangles or muscle bands, Iris kind of takes the place of those. So if your opponent has taken 3 prizes, you play an Iris, and it's basically the same thing as you having a silver bangle attached to your Medicham. I can't say that it really helped out because at South Carolina State, because I didn't face any Seismitoad at all. I did face one guy who he played Virizion Genesect with a Tech Seismitoad, and he got that guy up there, and he was not anticipating me being able to knock out the Seismitoad. I think without the Iris, I was 20 damage away, and I dropped it, and he just kind of, dropped his jaw. He couldn't believe that I had played that card. So it's funny. It helped out against like a single Tech of Seismitoad, and that's the reason that I had Iris in there to begin with. So yeah, that's why I played Iris. Kind of a weird card, but it doubles the damage, so it's really nice to barrage into basically a double Iris for that purpose.
That's true. Alright, so you did play the 1 Landorus EX and the 1 regular Landorus. Did you ever wish that the second Landorus, the regular Landorus, was the EX at all, or was the 1-1 good enough?
I think the 1-1 was good enough. That didn't depend a whole lot on the regular Landorus. If anything, if I had to choose, I would go with 2 Landorus EX before 2 regular Landorus. But yeah, I think the 1-1 split worked perfectly for me. The only reason I say 2 Landorus EX is that I would hate to go second and have one of them prized, and then just look at not being able to pull off that secondary strategy that I use. So.
Okay. Now, you did play a 2-2 split on the repeat ball and ultra ball. Did you ever wish you went more of the other, or was that like a fine?
It was fine too. The 2 ultra ball, I left that in there for grabbing Celebi EX or grabbing Jirachi EX. And then at one point in the testing for the deck, I had 2 Jirachi EX. A little bit overkill, but the cool thing about that was I could grab it with a repeat ball if I ever needed to. Didn't find many moments where I hit up against that situation though. But yeah, the 2-2 split worked pretty well, and I wouldn't change that either. I think that again, I would hate to have like an ultra ball prize whenever I could Karina and grab the ultra ball for the Celebi EX.
Okay. Now, with the 2 teammates, what were you like? I know it like depends on the like situation and stuff like that, but what was your favorite 2 cards to get with teammates?
Favorite 2 cards would be anything that completes that puzzle of like Medicham, Celebi, Silver Bangle, Strong Energy, and Fighting Stadium. So I found myself grabbing Strong Energy and Silver Bangle more than anything else, and that's probably because Silver Bangle, I run 3 of them. Strong Energy, run 4 of them. I would try to get Celebi EX down on the bench pretty quickly. But yeah, that was a sweet spot, was being able to grab a Silver Bangle and a Fighting Energy, or Strong Energy, and being able to hit for 180 damage with a Pokemon that does like 30 damage base.
That's true. So. Now, I know barely anybody has been playing Medicham. Why did you decide to play the deck for the tournament?
That's a good question. I played a lot on PTCGO, and I found myself getting tired of Night March. That's basically been the deck that I've played all season long. Okay. So at some point I was like, I'm tired of using this gimmick deck. Let's see if I can go with a different gimmick deck. And so I liked the combo of Medicham and Teammates from the get-go. That seemed like a pretty solid strategy for being able to get all those cards together. So I kind of built the deck. At first I had Masquerain in it, and that wasn't working too smoothly. So at some point I think I switched gears and decided I was just going to see how good I can make that deck. And so after a while I wasn't really losing any games on PTCGO. And I know that PTCGO, like, sometimes you're not facing against the best of players. Sure. But at least in terms of feeling like the deck was running really smoothly, I at least got that feel for it. And once I went, like, I don't know, at this point, I think I have like 50 plus wins with the deck and very few losses. So I was like, I should just play this at the tournament because it's a fun deck. I like it, and it seems to be working. So that's kind of what inspired me to play it.
Okay. All right, so I know we've been talking about like editing your deck and everything. Would you make any changes to it after playing this tournament, or do you think the list is pretty solid?
Yeah, I would actually make a couple of changes. The two Iris, I think I would have to do some more testing against Seismitoad.
Mhm.
But I think those could sort of be axed in favor of some other cards. And I'm kind of drawing a blank on what, because I went back and started playing on PTCGO again, and I'm trying to think of what cards I replaced them with. Gosh. Yeah, I'm drawing a blank,
That's fine.
but yeah, like the two Iris, I guess I just have just a little bit of trepidation in playing those because they didn't do anything for me at South Carolina State with the exception of that one single turn where I was able to knock out a Seismitoad, and my opponent was like, "Whoa, probably would have won the game anyway." So,
Yeah, yeah.
I just kept looking at Iris, and I was like, "You're not helping me. You're doing horrible this weekend." So, and I hate that too because so many people, whenever they found out that I was playing Iris, they probably thought that was like the secret, the trick to the deck.
Yeah.
But I really can't say that it is. So,
Okay. So,
outside of that, it seems pretty solid. Like, maybe go with another Lysandra because I only played one, and it would be nice to have the second one in there.
mhm.
And then I think that was one of the edits that I made. Oh, that's what it was. And a Mr. Mime. I put a Mr. Mime in there. Can you guess why?
Hmm.
Orlandris, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think the Mr. Mime it might have made a difference. I mean, it probably would have made a big difference at South Carolina State, just because it forces the opponent to focus their efforts with regards to Golbat and Crobat on Mr. Mime, and they can't hammerhead away the Meditites, which was really the issue that I had games 2 and 3 in the top 8 was the opponent being able to sneaky bite a Meditite and then hammerhead it away. So
Yeah.
giving me no path to a Medicham. So yeah,
Okay. Well, how many championship points are you at currently?
I haven't looked at it recently. I think I'm at like 210, 220.
Okay.
My theory at this point is to just continue doing what I'm doing. I've top cutted, I think. Let's see, I've done 7 tournaments, and I've top cutted at 8. Oh, sorry, 5 of them. I've top cutted at 8 out of 7. It's pretty good. I've top cutted at 5 out of 7. So my theory is just continue to do that, and I'll be good with the World Invite.
Okay.
Hopefully.
Yeah, that's true. So, are you going to any regionals coming up here?
We're trying to see if we can make it to Georgia Regionals. I'm looking at my wife right now. Georgia Regionals? She gives a shrug. We don't know yet. So we'll see if we can make that happen.
Okay.
I'd love to make it, though. I know we did make it a couple years ago, and we loved it. So.
Okay. Now, I know Georgia Regionals is a month and a half away, and there's a whole new set coming out and everything. But do you think Medicham still has a chance to pull it in to get a win there?
The next set introduces a lot of interesting dynamics. Probably the biggest one would be Rayquaza EX, Mega Rayquaza EX. I actually like both of those cards, both the Dragon type and the Colorless type. I think most people are looking at the Colorless one more than anything, though. So the thought that I have here is that I can anticipate that deck being fast, but it still does need 3 energies to pull off, what is it, Emerald Blast or Emerald Break, whatever the Rayquaza, yeah. So they're probably going to bank on a DCE, and so I think that if you can get an enhanced hammer into the Medicham list, you can knock that DCE away. They'll probably play the Rayquaza EX that for a single energy it does 10 plus 50 if it's an EX. So that doesn't really hurt Medicham that much. I mean, unless you start with a Landorus or a Celebi or a Jirachi, but hopefully you won't, or you can switch out of it.
True.
So, I'm thinking about, and he does have fighting resistance too, right?
Yeah, I think
Kind
he
of,
does.
yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, that's like, in my mind, that's most of where the attention's going is that single card with the new set, and of course some of the support that it's got. Um, Looking at Shaman EX. So, I don't know. I think it can hang with it. It would require that enhanced hammer, maybe two of them, and then you'd have to pull off yoga kick as opposed to using Celebi for smack because you want to be able to avoid that resistance.
True.
So I don't know. I think it can, but the next set is a huge one. I mean, it's really going to change things up. I think probably more so even than Phantom Forces did.
Hmm.
It's just kind of a crazy set. A lot of interesting trainers and EX Pokemon in it. So
Very true. Now, do you want to give any shout outs to anybody?
shout outs, yeah, to my wife. She's wonderful. She's always there for me. I mean, if it weren't for her, we probably wouldn't even make it to tournaments because I'd probably oversleep or something like that. I give a shout out to my little daughter Naomi. She's also a brave soul to go out Pokemon playing and all that. So, but other than that, yeah, I got a few friends, Guy Bennett, and pretty much anybody who plays in North Carolina and in South Carolina, the Orgels, the Hills, all of those good guys. It's wonderful going to tournaments and hanging out with them. And in fact, that's what I usually say is that if you're not in it to win, you can at least win by meeting up with friends and the wonderful community that Pokemon has.
That's
So,
very true. All right. Well, thank you so much for doing this, and good luck at regionals.
yeah, thanks, man. Are you going to regionals?
I am going to an Atlanta regionals, so
Okay.
hopefully I'll see you there.
Hopefully.
Alrighty, man. Well, take care.
All right, you too.
Alrighty, bye.